All right, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris and this is my channel, We Love Comics. And as always, I thank all of you for taking the time to watch my video. And this was a serious topic that I want to make sure we go over because I have been saying for a long time that, in my opinion, I have noticed that CGC will undergrade comics to the point where even I thought just by looking at a book I could know the grade of a lower grade of a book. And if you watched my other video that I made earlier today, let me put on the video camera, I'm sure there's going to be some controversy on this grade, and I wanted to make sure this was accurate. So I'm going to go over some things so you can make up your mind, because this channel is not about preaching to people and saying this is how things are. My channel is about discussing things, showing information, so you can draw your own conclusion. Now, by the amount of thumbs down I got on the video I did earlier today, I could see many people anonymously did not like the fact that this Incredible Hulk was given a 1.0. Even I, to be fair, was a little surprised by that because I automatically assumed it was 0.5. But then I really wanted to make sure, because obviously I don't want a book if it's overgraded, undergraded, if it's not accurately graded. So I went to a bunch of different sites to check on specifics for grading, and we're going to go over a bunch of things, and then I'm going to show you a little extra bonus thing, and I'm going to show it on the screen so you could see it, so you could make up your own mind, is this book legitimately a 1.0? Now, let's show the book. Now, people automatically assume, and even I assumed, now this, I would say, fairly is about a dollar-sized chew-out of the entire book. Because a silver dollar is going to be about that, probably a little bit bigger than the circle I could make with my finger, probably like that. So if you look at that, we can honestly say this is about a silver dollar size cutout, okay? Now, we have the top part where about the first 6 pages, which is about double, because here again is the silver dollar size. Obviously that's not the scale, but you could see that is clearly the size of the silver dollar plus a little bit more. So I made sure I considered it double, even though it's not double, probably 1.5. But I put double just to make sure. Now, other than that, there is no spine roll. As you can see, because before I go over everything, and I'm going to go into full detail, so whether you like me or not, this is about information, because you want to make sure your books are graded fairly. And I do too. But if you see the rest of the book, look at the colors. It's not faded. It's not wrinkling. It's not torn. You could see the Hulk clearly. The back cover is not missing. The staples are both silver and intact. There are no loose pages. The pages are actually white. They are not brittle. So the major defects is this right here and the first 6 pages here. So we're going to go over, and I wanted to make sure I went to somebody reputable. I wasn't going to just go to Mr. Joe Schmo's version of what they think a 10.0 to a 0.5 would be. I actually went to the Heritage Auctions website. Heritage Auctions has been around since 1976. If you are invested in comics or any kind of collectibles, you are most likely familiar with Heritage Auctions. And by far, they gave the biggest detailed description of each particular grade and what involves itself in those grades. So, by looking at this, even I made that mistake. But again, let's look at the back. The back is complete, except for that, like I said, about a silver dollar sized cutout. Okay, but the back, there's no tears, there's no coupons missing, there's no writing. And even in the grader's notes, there's multiple stress lines along the spine, cover edge and spine wear, obviously, and extensive bug chew. Okay, so it's complete. Staples are both intact. The centerfold is intact. All the pages are intact. There is no writing. The pages are off-white to white. The problems are those two major areas, okay? This is not, even with that, this is not a quarter of the cover gone. It's close, but it's not. So let's go over what not only Heritage Auctions shows, but I'm going to go into more details about something else. So I want this to be, not like I'm hoping this is a 1.0, because you guys have seen in the past, I had a book, I forget which, 2 different times, where I think the book was about a 3.5 and it came back a 6.5. I did on air, I tore it off out of the rack right live in air because I knew that was incorrect. And the other was a Hulk 181, which did not have a Marvel value stamp. It did not mention it. I cracked it open, sent it back to be regraded. So I want to keep these things fair. So I'm not one of those people that knows a book is 9.6 and it comes back a 9.8 and says, I'm going to take it. So I did a couple of hours worth of research on this, and I am going to say 2 things, and I'm going to show the information so you could base it on yourself. If you're one of those people that hates me or just thinks, for example, CGC does everything exactly right and you don't want to listen and you're not going to follow the evidence, you're not somebody I could talk to and there's nothing I can do. Those are the people that believe masks actually help protect against microorganisms, even though no fire department would ever wear a mask in a fire because the smoke particles would go through the mask, and yet the smoke particles are actually larger than the virus that we won't mention here. So if you believe a mask works, you will not take the time to process information. And if anybody knows anything about my channel, I am into as being as filled with integrity as possible, making sure I go over research. And I made the assumption this was a 0.5. And like I said, I'll be honest, I was a little shocked it was a 1.0. Not shocked like it came back a 5, because it's only 0.5 difference. But we're going to go over all the information. I'm going to show it to you. And you can check this yourself by going on to Heritage Auctions. And then I'll show you something else I did as a little bonus. And again, I'll show it to you. You can draw your own conclusions. So haters are going to hate no matter what. And I am actually telling you that I think, in my opinion, based on what I've read and what I'm going to show you and read to you, that I feel that CGC actually gives its customers a disservice by actually undergrading books that should be higher. Because and you can do this yourself before we show the other stuff. You can go on eBay, type in CGC 0.5, make sure you hit the highest prices, because otherwise you're going to get hundreds of ones that are listed in auctions. Okay? But I went to the highest ones. Every single CGC 0.5 either had a missing page, it had a completely torn and split spine, where the cover or the back cover was missing. And the only one that I saw that was complete that had a 0.5 was a Journey into Mystery 83. And in my opinion, looking at it, I said to myself, there's no way this is a 0.5. It was too nice looking. So we're not going to go based on what we feel. We're going to go with facts. So if you are a person that believes in feelings matter more than facts, I can't help you. If you're one of the people that can actually sit there and honestly listen to information and try and make your own opinion based on information and not just what you feel or what you've been told, then this video is for you. So this is not about trying to bash CGC or trying to praise PGX. It's trying to find out, is the 1.0 on this comic a fair and accurate grade? So now we're going to go through the information. There's 2 different sites I'm going to show you in full detail so you can formulate your own opinion. If after all that you don't agree, that's perfectly fine. But I'm asking you to give me a fair opportunity to show you this. And like I said, if somebody hates me, and there are people out there that hate me, and I really don't care about them anymore, because it's been so long since anything controversial has come out of my mouth other than sharing my own opinions, I want to show you guys so you can make your own opinions that are free thinkers. Okay? So let's get to the first part. We're going to go, and I'm going to put it, give me a second, we're going to put it on the monitor capture. Okay, so right now I am on, and just so you can see, the Heritage Auctions website. They've been around since 1976. I went to a bunch of different pages, and Heritage Auctions is by far the most descriptive of every single grade. Like, even some of them would say a 1.0 and a 1.5 listed together. That, to me, is not helpful. This one breaks down every single grade all the way down to a coverless comic or an incomplete comic. So it, by far, was the most detailed description. So let's first go over those that think that this is actually 0.5, and I was guilty of that as well, because I didn't read into what consists of a 0.5. I just assumed, well, there's those pieces missing, so it's automatically a 0.5. After reading this stuff, you're going to see that the 1.0 is actually more accurate. So let's go over it. Okay. So according to Heritage Auctions, which has been around since 1976, a 0.5, which is considered poor. So we're going to read. And I showed the book already, but I can show it again afterwards after we describe these things. So bear with me. Okay, so a 0.5, sufficiently degraded to the point where there is little or no collector's value. Now, that's subject to interpretation there. But as you see with the cover that I've shown, yes, there are two missing parts, but the rest of the book looks nice. Okay. Easily identified by a complete absence of eye appeal. I don't view it that way. Because again, yes, it's missing those two pieces, but seeing the Hulk, and I'll put on the camera again for a second. And again, this part is subjective to somebody's opinion. So let me put on the video camera again. The Hulk himself, that has good eye appeal. It's not faded. It's not ripped. It's not shredded. It's not full of, water stains and everything. Yes, that will take away from the eye appeal. That will take away from the eye appeal. But you don't look at that and say it's disgusting. Look at a 0.5 online right now on eBay. And there is one that is, almost the whole entire cover. It's complete. But the whole entire cover is so faded and full of tears that you can't even tell what the cover is. That, to me, is undesirable. Okay, but again, it's your own opinion on that part. So we're not going to go with that as an extreme. Okay, so let's continue. Brittle, almost to the point of turning to dust with a touch. Now, you saw the comic. Did it look brittle to the touch? It does not. And usually incomplete. Usually, okay? But this is not incomplete. This is complete, although it has parts that will affect the story. Okay? Extreme fading may render the cover almost indiscernible. That is not the case here. I showed the Hulk. You could see it. You could see the word Hulk, at least the first 3 letters. So it is not faded to the point where it's unrecognizable. Okay? May have extremely severe stains, mildew, or heavy cover abrasion to the point that some cover inks are indistinct or absent. Okay? As you saw with that cover, it has no stains or mildew or heavy cover abrasions. Okay? Covers may be detached, with this one is not, with large chunks missing. Can have extremely ragged edges. These do not. Let's go back to the camera really quick, and I'll show the edges. Edge number 1 looks nice and pointy. Edge number 2 looks nice and sharp. Edge number 3. Again, sharp. And edge number 4, sharp. So the corners are sharp. Okay? Can have extremely ragged edges and extensive creasing. This has no creasing at all. Corners are rounded or virtually absent. I just showed the corners. They're actually all pointy. They're not even rounded. Covers may have been defaced with paints, varnishes, glues, oils, markers, or dyes. It has none of that. And may have suffered heavy water damage. It has none. Can also have extreme have extensive amateur repairs, such as laminate covers. This has no repairs. Extreme spine roll present. This does not have a spine roll at all. Can have extremely ragged spines or a complete book length split. This has neither of those. There is no split, and the spine is actually perfect, other than creases on the edges. Staples can be missing or show extreme rust or discoloration. The staples are not missing, and they are silver. Extensive staple tears and stress lines may be present. There are no stress lines along the staples, and I will show the video camera again so you can see for yourself. And this has a lot of black in it. No stress lines. No stress lines. Okay? As well as extreme rust migration. They have no rust. Paper exhibits moderate to severe bitterness, where the comic book literally falls apart when examined. This does not have that at all. It actually has off-white to white pages. So the comic is not brittle at all. It has the bug damage, okay? Extreme acidic odor may be present. I never noticed that when I took the book out. I didn't notice any smells or any mildew. Extensive interior tears. Other than the parts I've shown, the rest of the book has no tears. Multiple pages, including the centerfold, may be missing that affect readability. Okay? Multiple pages missing. This has no pages missing. It has pieces of the pages missing, but there's not one page missing. That affect readability, and coupons may be cut. So let's go based on all those things, and I'm going to show you more. How many of you, after reading that, feel that this should be a 0.5? Because I'm going to show you more information. Okay? So, if you read that description, this book should not qualify for a 0.5. It is complete. It has silver staples. There is no stress lines along the staples. There is no spine split. All the pages are there. The pages are not brittle. They are off-white to white. Everything is complete. So according to Heritage.com, well, I don't know if it's Heritage.com, but according to Heritage Auctions, which has been around since 1976, this should not be a 0.5. Let's continue. Let's read the 1.0, which is fair. Okay? Shows heavy wear. Obviously, that and this is going to be heavy wear. No kidding. Okay? Some collectors consider this the lowest collectible grade because comic books in lesser condition are usually incomplete and or brittle. Now, we've already stated, as I read the 0.5, this is neither brittle nor incomplete. Okay? Cover may be detached, which it isn't. And inks have lost all reflectivity. That is not the case. This still has some reflectivity, and you saw the colors of the book. Creases, tears, and or folds are prevalent. Now, except for those two areas that I mentioned, there are no creases, no folds or anything on the front or the back. Okay? Corners are commonly rounded or absent. Well, I showed the corners. They are actually quite sharp. Soiling and staining is present. Books in this condition generally have all pages and most of the covers. That fits into this, doesn't it? Although there may be up to 1/4 of the front cover missing, or no back cover, but not both. So there's, I would say, and I'll show it again. Let's put on the video camera. So it can't have both a quarter of the front cover missing and a missing back. You can see it has the back. Except for that one spot here, the back is complete. That is not 1/4 of the book. Now, this is close to a quarter when you combine these two together. So let's assume it's a quarter. That's allowed in a 1.0. See the colors? Not faded. Okay, so let's continue. Let's see. Corners are completely round. They're absent. I already said that soiling and staining is present. Books in this condition generally have all pages, which it has, and most of the covers. We read that part. Tape and other forms of amateur repair are more common, which this does not have. Spine roll is more common. As you saw, it has no spine roll at all. Spine split can extend up to 2/3 of the length of the book. It has no spine split at all. Staples may be missing or show rust and discolorization. They are neither missing nor rusty. An accumulation of staple tears and stress lines may be present. I've shown that. It has neither. As well as rust migration, which it does not have. Paper is brown and may show bitterness around the edges, but not in the central portions of the pages. I have shown that it is neither brittle nor brown. The pages are off-white to white, and there is not one bit of brittleness in those pages. Acidic odor may be present. Again, I did not notice that when I opened it at all. Accumulation of interior tears. Other than those 2 spots, there are no other tears. Chunks may be missing. That is a key factor there. Chunks may be missing. Obviously, with the bug bites, there are chunks missing. The centerfold may be missing. If readability is generally preserved, coupons may be cut. So the centerfold is not only not missing, but it's attached completely, and there are no coupons cut. So I'm going to show you more, but based on that now, does it sound more like a 1.0 to you? I'm not done. I actually went, and let's show this. Oh, I went to the wrong thing. Hold on. Windows Update. Okay, I actually now went to ChatGPT, and I did a whole lines of questioning, and we're going to go through it all. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence website. It is not based on human emotion or human opinion. It's based on information and fact. Okay? So I started out with the following. And I'm going to read it all, and you can see it. So I'm going to show you everything. So I'm going to show you the proof that this is actually a legit 1.0. Okay? And if CGC was graded to 0.5, they would actually have undergraded it, even with those 2 parts. So let's go over this. So I wrote to ChatGPT. Can you give me a full report of all details of a comic book that would qualify it to get a 1.0 grade? And here's ChatGPT's response. Certainly, here are some of the key details and issues that might contribute to a comic book receiving a 1.0 grade. So we're going to go over this as compared to what I just showed you from Heritage. Okay, number 1, cover and interior damage. The comic book would likely have significant damage to the cover and interior pages, including tears, creases, or missing pieces. The damage might affect the artwork, text, or overall readability of the book. We've already shown that. Those 2 spots are the major parts where it is missing pieces. Okay, structural issues, number 2. There could be noticeable structure problems, such as a detached cover, which this does not have, or loose pages, which it does not have. These would affect the book's integrity, making it challenge to handle or read without causing further damage. So this book is not going to fall apart if you open it, because the staples are still intact, and the pages are still intact, and the pages are not brittle. Okay, number 3, heavy wear and aging. The comic might show extensive signs of wear, such as edge wear, corner blunting, or surface abrasions. The effect of aging, including discolorization, yellowing, or brittleness, may also be present. So you didn't see any yellowing, you didn't see any brittleness, and it does not have any discoloration. Okay? 4, staining or water damage. Significant staining, foxing, brownish spots caused by mold or mildew, or water damage could be evident on the cover or pages. These results can respond to exposure of moisture, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to worry about that one. Writing and markings, we don't have to worry about that because it doesn't have that. Okay, number 6, severely creased or folded pages. Multiple creases, folds, or spine stress marks might be present throughout the comic. These damages can impair the book's ability to lay flat and diminish the overall visual appeal. So I've shown the book several times. You can see it has no problem laying flat, so there is no spine stress or spine rolls. Okay, 7. Loose or missing centerfold, which it does not have, but I'll read it. If the centerfold, typically a group of pages in the middle of the comic, is loose or missing, it would contribute to a lower grade. This affects the completeness and the reading experience of the comic. We don't have to worry about that because that is not missing, and it's not even loose, not even on one staple. And 8, restoration or repair. We don't have to worry about that. There's no tape. There's no restoration at all. Okay? So let's continue because I went further than that, and I will continue even further. Okay. Can you give me now a complete full description of everything a comic book would get to have a 0.5 grade? Okay. So number 1, severe cover and interior damage. The comic book would exhibit extensive damage to the cover and interior pages, including missing pieces, detached cover, or significant tears. The damage would be so severe that it greatly affects the book's structure and readability. So we're borderline there. It does have some severe damage, but it's not affecting the book structure. It's not brittle. It's not falling apart. So there are structural damages, but it's not that severe. Because in a 1.0, it is allowed to have missing pieces. Okay, 2, extensive staining or discoloration. You saw the cover. You saw the back. Heavy staining, foxing, brown spots caused by mold or mildew, does not have any mold or mildew, or discolorization would be present throughout the comic, including on the cover and pages. These damages would likely be widespread and pronounced, detracting from the comic's visual appeal. Now, I showed the cover. Except for those 2 spots, the cover looks pretty darn nice. Like I said, if that would have been without those bug bites, this book would be a 5.5, a 6.0. That's how nice it is. Okay, number 3. Multiple tears, creases, and folds. The comic would have numerous tears, creases, and folds throughout its pages, making it difficult to handle or read. The damages would be extensive and impact the overall appearance and integrity of the book. Again, it has some damage, but not so severe that it would affect the integrity of the book. Okay? Writing and markings we can skip. It doesn't have. Missing or detached pages, it does not have. Number 6, severely brittle or fragile pages, it does not have. So to have a 0.5, the comics pages would be highly fragile, brittle, or easily torn due to age, deterioration, or unfavorable storage conditions. The paper might be prone to breaking or crumbling upon handling. Off-white to white pages, these are not brittle. So it's not going to be where you touch it and it's going to turn to dust. Okay? 7, this is where some people can say, but again, well, we'll go over it. Severely torn or detached cover. Okay? It does not have a detached cover. I don't know if you consider bug bites severely torn, but let's go over it. The cover of the book would likely be torn, detached, or missing significant portions. This would render the book structurally compromised and severely impact its visual appeal. Now, like any art, it's speculative. So that part right there saying severely impacting its visual appeal, well, somebody who likes 9.8s only is going to say this lacks visual appeal. But it is not to the point where it compromises the book structurally. So you have to read the whole thing. Okay, number 8, incomplete or damaged centerfold. We do not have. Number 9, extensive restoration or repair. We don't have to worry about. Okay, so it says, remember, a grade of 0.5 represents an extremely distressed and heavily damaged comic book with minimal collector's value. The specific criteria used for grading may vary between grading companies, but the above description provides a general overview of the issues that might lead to a comic receiving a 0.5. So let's continue, because I asked it even more, and I actually updated it after the first time, just to make sure. So I wrote, if a bug were to eat through a silver dollar-sized chunk of the comic book, all the way through on the bottom of the comic, and then a dollar-sized chew through the first 6 pages at the top right corner, what grade would it get? Keep in mind the staples are clean and intact, the rest of the cover is bright and colorful, it is complete with no spine tears, No missing or detached pages. Centerfold is completely attached and pages are off-white. What grade should that book get? So I'm asking a computer, not a person, based on the information told, what it would say. Okay, so this is a ChatGPT's response. Based on the description provided, the comic book you mentioned would likely receive a grade of 1.0 due to the extensive damage by the bug. Here is an assessment of the condition. So let's go over the assessment based on the information. And I would like to think I was very accurate and honest with it. I wasn't trying to cherry pick. There's one part that I adjusted, and I'll go over that, and we'll read that as well. Okay, so number one, bug damage. The bugs chewing through the silver dollar-sized chunk at the bottom of the comic, as well as the dollar-sized chew through the first 6 pages at the top right corner, represents significant damage that greatly affects the comic's appearance and readability. Notice it doesn't say anything about the structural integrity. These areas of damage would likely result in a lower grade, which of course a 1.0 is. 2. Clean and intact staples. The fact that the staples are clean and intact is a positive aspect and would not impact the grade's negativity. 3. Bright and colorful cover, which I've shown. The parts that are shown are bright and colorful. The condition of the cover being bright and colorful is a positive attribute, but the substantial bug damage mentioned earlier would outweigh this positive in aspects in terms of grading. Of course, you're not going to get a 5.0 no matter how nice the comic is because of those bug bites. Okay, number 4, complete with no spine tears. The absence of spine tears is a positive characteristic that would contribute to a higher grade. 5, no missing or detached pages. The fact that there are no missing or detached pages is another positive attribute that would be considered when determining the grade. 6, completely attached centerfold. The centerfold being completely attached is another positive aspect that would contribute to a higher grade. 7, off-white pages. The off-white pages indicate some aging, but are generally acceptable and would not significantly affect the grade. Considering the extensive bug damage described, which includes a silver dollar-sized chunk eaten through the comic and a dollar-sized chew through the first 6 pages, it would likely result in a lower grade. Therefore, based on overall information and damage mentioned, the comic book would likely receive a grade of 1.0. Okay, now I made an amendment to this because I want to be fair and I want to be honest. Okay, so I'm going to put on the video camera again. You can see that bottom part. I could say honestly, that's about a silver dollar-sized chew. So I think that is accurate. It might be a little bit smaller, but on average, I think everybody would fairly say that looks like about a silver dollar-sized chew in the top. Now, I also said it was a silver dollar-sized chew on the top, which actually I amended, and I rewrote it. And I said it actually looks like about a 1.5 size silver dollar, but I said double the size to be fair. Okay? So let's go back to ChatGPT. So I amended it when I looked at the comic and saw that that part was actually a little bigger than what I assumed it was because I was basing it on my own remembering of it. So I said, actually, the first 6 pages at the top is about double in size. Would it still give a 1.0 with everything else I mentioned? Okay, so I amended it by saying the top right part is actually about double the amount of the bug chew that I originally thought it was. It's about 1.5. But to be on the fair side, I want it to be double in case that changes the grade. Okay, so the response from GPT. Apologies for the oversight in the previous response, which I don't know why he's apologizing. That's not his fault or its fault. If the bug damage consists of a larger area, approximately double the size of a silver dollar on the first 6 pages at the top right-hand corner, it would further contribute to a lower grade. Considering the updated information and taking into account the overall condition as described, here's a revised assessment. Okay, so I don't think I have to go over the whole thing, but let's read what they wrote about, what it wrote about bug damage. The bug chewing through a larger area, approximately double the size of a silver dollar on the first 6 pages in the top right-hand corner, represents even more substantial damage to the comic. This extensive damage would significantly impact the comic's appearance, readability, and collectivity, resulting in a lower grade. All the other stuff is the same because nothing else changed. So here's the results. Considering the updated information on the larger bug damage described, along with the other aspects mentioned, it is likely that the comic book would still receive a grade of 1.0 due to the significant damage present. So there you go. Now, a lot of us assume grades. I just showed factual information. Now, there are still going to be some that are going to disagree with what I'm saying and what I'm showing. And that's perfectly fine. But after all the things that I read and showed, this book is closer to a 1.0 than a 0.5. It is not brittle to the touch. The staples are intact. The cover is colorful. It is not missing the back cover. The staples are silver. There is no spine roll. There are no stress lines along the staples. The centerfold is intact. The pages are white, or off-white to white. So the two major parts are this right here, first 6 pages, and this right here. It does not warrant, based on that information, to be a 0.5. Which means, and I've said this for years, you could watch my live videos. I've said on numerous occasions, in my opinion, that CGC actually undergrades books. Go look, like I said in the beginning, in case you missed it. Go on eBay, type in CGC 0.5, go to the highest price ones, so this way you don't have to go through thousands of auctions and everything. And you'll see every single CGC 0.5 has a missing centerfold, incomplete, or complete spine split, something of that nature. And the only one that I saw, which was a Journey into Mystery 83, that was a 0.5 with none of that, I looked at it and I said, there's no way this is a 0.5. It was too nice. We need to think not just with our feelings and go with what the mob thought goes. That's why the world is as crazy as it is right now, because most people are basing things on groupthink. I have shown you information. I even double verified it with a computer, giving it actual information. I wasn't trying to make it favorable so I could get the grade, because if it said a 0.5, I would crack it out and send it back. But based on the information, 1.0 is not an unfair grade for this book. Again, you may disagree. You may agree. I will leave that up to you. If you are basing it solely on the fact that you don't like me or you don't like PGX and you absolutely love CGC and they can do no wrong, well then if you want to keep getting your books undergraded when they are not deserving of them, you're doing yourself a disservice. So I am actually glad that I had this book so I can actually look these things up and not be like everybody else, because I fell for that as well. This fell into the range of a 1.0. But again, I want you to leave your comments on the video. I only want the people that watch the entire thing. Because if you only watch parts and you're just going to say it's a 0.5, there's nothing I can do to convince you, nor do I want to care enough to try. So if you watch the entire video, don't put it in the live chat, but tell me when you put a comment in the comment section when this video uploads, tell me what it is I'm holding. And then I'll know you read the whole thing and not just leaving a comment. So if you see somebody leave a comment and they do not put this, they didn't watch the whole video. Which means they can just say, well, it's a 0.5 because that's what it is. Well, I'm not basing it on my own opinion, which is what I did originally. I'm basing it on the information provided. And I double-checked that information with the most detailed information I can acquire. If you still don't agree, perfectly fine. And I'm not doing it to try and justify. I'm trying to be fair Because you guys, and every one of my live unboxings, that's why I do them live, every one of my live unboxings is up there, and you could see the ones where, when I questioned it, like I said, one of them came back a 6.5, and I thought it was a 3.0 to a 3.5. I cracked it open right there live on camera. And the Hulk 181 that I sent in without a Marvel stamp, and came back not mentioning that, I sent that back and got it re-slabbed. Because I am not going to be one of those people that says, oh, I just got away with something, so I'm going to turn around and sell it, and the other person could deal with the confusion or the lie. That's not what I'm about. So I'm leaving it up to you. Draw your own conclusions. Hate me all you want. Hate PGX all you want. But that does not change the facts and the information that I provided. Again, I'm here for the free thinkers, the ones that can actually say, you know what? The information you gave actually made me change my mind. Or think a little differently. Now, if this was a 0.5 or a 1.0 and it got a 3.5, I'd tear this sucker open in a heartbeat. You guys know that. The 1.0 to a 0.5, I gave the information. I even double-checked it with a computer, not a human, that can actually base things on information, not personal biases or personal feelings or personal opinion, based on information. I'm going to believe a computer over I'm going to believe a person. And again, it's a 0.5 difference. But reading the information twice on two different sites, what constitutes a 0.5, this book has none of that except for the cover missing pieces. I'll leave it up to you at this point. I'm not here to become anybody's best friend. I don't care about people's opinions based on their feelings. I am not telling you you have to agree. I gave the information, and you can draw your own conclusion. And that's where I'm going to leave it. So I am very happy with this 1.0. I wanted to make sure it was an accurate grade. And after all the information that I followed up on and showed you here, I have no problem with this being a 1.0. And it's a complete book with some minor problems. Well, I can't call it minor problems. Let's be real. It's not the most beautiful book in the world, but I've definitely seen a lot worse. Go look up on eBay right now a Hulk number 1 0.5, and you'll see one that doesn't have any bug bites or missing parts, but the entire cover you could barely tell what it is. It's so destroyed. Art is subject to person's tastes. Two people are ever going to think the same. But based on the facts, leave it in the comment section. If you think this 1.0 is at the very least plausible and not out of the realm of possibility. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next video. And thank you to the 12 people that were kind enough to hit the like button, because I guarantee you there will be 10 to 20 people that will hit the dislike button without watching a single second of it, because it goes against their own personal feelings. If you base your life on your own personal feelings instead of facts, I honestly feel sorry for you, because that's a heck of a way to live and not one I would ever want. But you're entitled. Even a bad experience is still an experience. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. I look forward to those who are kind enough to take time, listen to this whole video, get the information, and leave an honest opinion on the comments section.